and welcome to the new English Hub learning platform. My name is Kevin Parker, and I will be providing all the administrative support and developing the content for the new hub. The course is structured in a way that supports classroom teaching and is aligned to the units in the Gold First textbook. The students will have access to a variety of engaging activities, many of which are not available in normal textbooks. Students are automatically graded and given feedback, which can be downloaded by the tutors. Another exciting element is the fact that motivation can be increased through the award of badges and progressing through levels. Discussion forums allow the students to interact with each other and the tutor. Finally, the hub is very flexible and other software can be linked to the hub, such as FaceTime or Skype. I will now show you more features of the hub itself. This is the home page of the hub, and you will be given a link by email. Across the top, you can see there are links to the main English Centre website, Facebook, and also you can change the language of the site from English to Spanish. On the top right, you can see the login button, which you will need to press in order to log in. On the login page, type in your username and password, which will be sent to you via email, and then click on the login button. We are now logged in as Sergio, who is a teacher on 2 courses. We will click on the first one, Cambridge B2 Level 2. As this is the first time that Sergio has logged into the hub, he'll be required to read the site policy agreement, and you can use the scroll bar here to read the rest. In summary, it ensures that you behave appropriately on an online environment as you would be expected to do in a classroom. Once you have read and agreed to the policy, you click on the button Yes at the bottom. Sergio is now viewing his course in which he is a teacher. One of the key features to remember about the hub is that different roles see different things. So at the moment, as a tutor, he is seeing various elements that a student wouldn't see. The key one here is the Turn Editing On button, which he should press now. Once the editing is on, you'll be able to see all the future weeks and units, as well as the current ones. In order to view the content within each unit, you can click on it, and underneath will open up the content. And as you can see, we've split the content up into the same headings that are used by Cambridge and within the textbook. So we have, for example, a vocabulary section, a speaking section, reading section, and so on. I will now show you some of the content in more detail. For example, here we have a music word search, and you just click on the title itself. In this case, as a tutor, you can preview the quiz, whereas a student would actually attempt a quiz. Click on the preview and start attempt. It's telling you there's a time limit for this one of 5 minutes. And then when we see the actual quiz itself, in this case it's a word search with instructions, and basically you find the words, and in this case we're giving them clues of the first and last letter. Once they've completed that, they click the finish attempt, and it will then give them feedback on which questions they've got correct, and if they've got them wrong, it will also show them the correct answer in this case. However, if you're using a testing mode, they wouldn't get the correct answer. Here is an example where the students can listen to questions and answer them from a choice. They can control the audio pause or even scroll to listen to all the questions, and each question is given a number. So for example, question 1, they can choose their answer. I like most types of music, but especially rock music. Question 2, they can choose the answer and then click finish attempt once completed. We're now looking at a reading example. In this case, the student is required to read an article and answer questions. So the first thing is to read the article and then put the missing sentences in the right place. Here's an example where they need to look at words which in context could have different meanings. So for example, artist is performer in this context. We then have definitions, so a phrase or form of words written in memory of a person who has died. Again, that word epitaph was used in the sentence. Other phrases that might be used, for example, he had a slim figure. And then, similar to the Cambridge exam, really testing their knowledge of sentences and what they actually mean and making choices on those. Another fun feature of the hub is that students and tutors can have discussions. By clicking on here, this is an example where the tutor has asked a question and then students can reply with answering the question, but also then reply to other students' answers, and hopefully you get a nice interesting discussion going. And you can also use these discussions during the lessons if you wish. At the end of each week, there will also be a short test on maybe 1 or 2 elements from that week's course. For example, here we have a speaking test and a vocabulary test. With these, they will have 1 chance to complete the test, and their scores will go into the grade book and also contribute towards the award of badges. The last thing I would like to show you is the ability to track students' progress. And you do this through the column on the left. If we scroll down, there is a block called Administration and Course Administration. And in there you've got grades. If we click on the grades, we can see a list of the students, all the participants in your course. And as we scroll along to the right, we can see each activity or quiz with their scores. Underneath you've got the overall average, and so on. You can also, by clicking here, export as an Excel spreadsheet, in which case you can then simplify it and keep it for your own records, make it available if parents are asking questions. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this short video, and I hope you will enjoy, and your students will enjoy the hub. But do get in contact if you have any questions. Thank you.